she rang my wife in 1 metre from where I was standing. Didn't inform me and had a conversation with my wife about me. Kindly sort out your farang. Holy shit! That's the truth! You are a non-entity in Thailand. You're just a bloody farang. I tell you one good thing that's come out of all this. I have got my Bombay Sapphire. How about that? Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Do you know I've said this many times before that you're a non-entity in Thailand? Now, just to put this video in perspective, before the keyboard warriors get on the bandwagon, I'm not saying that Thai people are like this. I'm not saying that Thailand is like this, but this is the way I have been made to feel, and it's the way I feel today, and I'm going to tell you why. And it's more than one thing that we're addressing today as how you can feel like a non-entity in Thailand. You see, this video is going to be a multifaceted video, as a lot of my videos are. I like to bring you entertainment as well as information. I'm sharing my frustration with you. I'm holding in my hand, and I can't show the details. For obvious reasons, in Thailand you can't do things like that. But look, it's a bill. And I'll tell you why I feel like a non-entity when I'm talking about a bill. A number of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was informed by a very good friend of mine, totally innocently, who had been talking to the security or the management in the place where I live. And she reminded me, well, not reminded me, but she was doing it as a heads up. She said that there was a bill in my pigeonhole. These pigeonholes, you can see them there. And that it was a final notice. There's the final notice there, that thing. That's presumably final notice in Thai. It had the date on it that it had to be paid. So, it was to do with electricity. So I was given the impression that our electricity would be cut off if I didn't pay this by close of business on this particular day. So I paid it in 7-Eleven. And then the plot thickened. So the plot thickens. I paid the bill in 7-Eleven, 750 baht. Oh god damn, look at this fucker. Just a second. There's only enough room on these streets for one car to pass because fellas park in the middle of the... Okay, you're alright, at least he acknowledged it. Anyway, I paid the bill 750 baht in 7-Eleven, thinking I saved the day that we paid the electricity, you see. By the way, I was curious because... that light's gone. I was curious because the electricity bill is usually more than that. It's about 2,000 baht. But anyway, I didn't really read too much into it. I paid it, and that was it. And about 4 or 5 days later, I had the bill. That bill I showed you earlier on. I had that bill. I'd left it somewhere. But I woke up one morning and she placed it on my desk. And you see, when she wants to communicate with me, that's what she does. She puts something on my desk. Her level of communication is on the floor. But anyway, I picked it up and I said, yeah, I just said, well, what you put that there for? I paid it. And she said, look at the apartment number. It wasn't our apartment. So basically, I paid the bill for somebody else. So I said to myself, as you would say, or anyone would say, what the... So yeah, what did you expect me to say? I mean, what would you say when you paid somebody else's fucking bill? It was one digit in the difference between our apartment number and their apartment number. But the management put the bill in our pigeonhole. So anyway, I just said to myself, well, I'm going up to reception, the main reception area of where we are, and I'm going to address this and get the money back. But it wasn't as simple as that. Let me get stuck into this first. This is what it is. It's pork something. Hang on, I get the name. Some of you might be interested in knowing what I'm eating. It's pork noodle soup, or spicy pork noodle soup. There you are. With added garlic, and there's some spring onion in this. It's wonderful. It's Friday morning, and this is me brunch. I haven't eaten since half five. It's yesterday afternoon. It's now 11:30. So, but anyway, went up to reception to get it sorted, and of course, nobody speaks English. So what I do is, I do what I usually do in cases like that. I try me pigeon Thai. It doesn't always work, so I call the wife and I put her on speakerphone and she can talk to them. So she more or less told them what had happened, and they told me. They were talking amongst themselves. The wife hung up. She didn't talk to me after. They just handed the phone back to me and said, give it a day or two, we'll contact the guy. So I waited for 2 days, and they told me that the tenant had moved to a different province. That was the deal. And that if I furnished them with my bank account number, they would pass it on to him, and then he would obviously, well, they didn't say he would, but they would pass on my bank account number to him. And obviously, we all know why. So that's what I did. And they said, thank you very much. So I said, thank you very much. And that was it. I waited for a day. A full 24 hours. And nothing. Now you might say, if I was in his position, or her position, I don't know who, it's a fella or a girl, but if I was in their position, would I be keen to pay back? No, not necessarily. They're the ones who made the mistake, not me. But anyway, I went back to reception and I told them, I said, it hasn't come back, or I didn't get anything back. So with that, one of the girls behind reception picked up her cell phone and dialed the number, presumably the guy in question, the person who owed me the money. When I say presumably, that's what I assumed, or assumably. But as she was talking, I was kind of stuck for time. I had to go and get Harry from school. So with that, I just said to her, look, I'll be back in an hour, you do your thing. So I walked out of reception. I was walking back down towards the condo to get my car keys to pick up Harry from school. My phone rang. It was my wife, to say not to be bothering reception, that they will sort it in their own time. The receptionist rang my wife in front of me while I was standing there like an idiot, like a non-entity. She rang my wife to tell her that I'd been there, it's my second time there, and presumably they were busy doing other things. And my wife said, don't be bothering them. Don't go back again. It'll be sorted. And I said, when? She said, in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks? That's what I mean by being a non-entity in Thailand. She rang my wife in 1 meter from where I was standing. Didn't inform me, and had a conversation with my wife about me. And then I walked off and I got a call back from my wife to tell me that she had said, or words to that effect, not to be bothering them. Non-entity. This is absolutely lovely. I would go as far as to say, as It's top notch. Just as a bit of continuity to the video, I will be getting radio mics going forward next week, hopefully, and I won't be carrying around this Tascam, which has served me really well over the last few years, but the radio mics are the way to go. But having said that, I want to thank everybody who's helped me on Buy Me a Coffee. Your names appear there. Thank you so much. It's guys like you, all of you in fact, that give me the incentive and the encouragement to keep going on this channel. So I'm going to buy the radio mics, and it's you guys who are helping me do that. And if you want to help me out, you can scan the QR code to buy me a coffee. The link is in the description below. So that's just one of the stories of how you can be treated like a non-entity in Thailand. I have another juicy story coming up, but I'll have to finish this first. It's absolutely lovely. You know, I love Fridays. I love Fridays in Thailand and Bangkok. Friday's my gym day. Friday's my gym day. So after this, I'm popping over to Foodland. It's not a big C. Foodland's in the street, which is adjacent to here. And I'm going to buy myself some Bombay Sapphire and some tonic water. When I say I love Fridays in Thailand or Bangkok, it's the expectation of a wonderful weekend in this wonderful city. It really is top notch. The food here is top notch. Bombay Sapphire is top notch. And you might say, I got to be looking after my health. I do. I'm watching what I'm eating. I'm taking care of my blood pressure to a degree. But you can keel over at any time, lads. It could be all over, lights out. So you might as well enjoy what you do. And even if you don't keel over and you live till 90, I don't want to be live till 90 and look back regretting the things I didn't do. So I enjoy my weekends in Thailand, I can tell you that. That was a wonderful meal. 85 baht, lads. 85 baht. I'd intended to tell you about the next story. The next thing that happened that has rendered me to feeling like a non-entity. And then something else has happened in the meantime. I got a call from my wife. Wait till you hear this. Now, this isn't the second story. This has just happened now. Literally now in the last 5 minutes. My son went to school today and he wasn't feeling the very best, okay? But my wife and I decided to send him to school anyway and see what happened, you see. But what's happened is, apparently, he's not feeling very well at all and he needs to be collected. And you're saying, well, what's wrong with that? I'll tell you what's wrong with that. You see, the school has my phone number and has my wife's phone number. I bring my son to school every day and I collect him every day. I'm the one that does it. But wait a second. Why is it that I have to get a phone call from my wife to tell me that Harry isn't well? The school rang her and she rang me. But why didn't the school ring me? And you might say because they speak Thai. It's a bilingual school, lads. You're a non-entity. You're a complete non-entity. I'd love to go up to reception and say, why the hell didn't you call me? Why do you have to call me wife who's 10 kilometers away working in her office and she has to call me to go? Holy shit. That's the truth. You are a non-entity in Thailand. You're just a bloody farang. Now, that's not to say that Thai people aren't friendly and courteous and peaceful and all the rest of it. Of course they are. But when push comes to the shove, they're Thai and you're not. And you're not treated the same. Anyway, I tell you one good thing that's come out of all this. I have got my Bombay Sapphire. I have got my Bombay Sapphire. How about that? Not all is lost, lads. Not all is lost. But look, I'm going to collect my son. I have to do that. And we will reconvene. We reconvene when I've done that. And I'll tell you what was to be the second story, but is now the third story. by the way, I just want to say, if you have experienced or are experiencing similar, let me know in the comments section. This is not getting at Thailand. This is not bashing Thailand. It's just the way they treat us. They treat us very well, courteously, as I said, and all the rest of it. But when push comes to the shove, you're just nothing. You're just a non-entity. You're just not Thai. And you see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to pull in and sign for. I'm going to have to sign for them. And I can't bring the camera into the school. But I'm going to say it to them. I'm going to say it to them. Why? I'm going to say it to them. Why wasn't I contacted? I'm going to say it. And I'll fill you in. It's a pity I can't bring the camera into the school. And I could bring the microphone and record it, but that wouldn't be right. Recording people, either way, audio or video, without their knowledge. But I will transmit to you what they say to me when I put it up to them, that when I ask them why didn't they call me instead of calling my wife to call me. And there you go. We reconvene shortly, lads. We will reconvene shortly. So it's a few minutes later. Harry's in the car. He's a bit of a tummy thing going on. I asked them, and they were very pleasant. A lot of the staff in there are Filipino. And I said to her, can I ask you a question? Why is it that every time there's something wrong, you contact his mother, who is over 10 kilometres away, and I'm the one who leaves him to school and collects him from school every day? And she said, it's school policy that the mother is the first point of contact. In other words, the Thai is first point of contact. That is the... Yes, Harry, I'm coming now. Okay, I'm coming now. Now, I'm making it sound the way I want it to sound. But in cases of families in Thailand where there's a foreign parent, how many instances are there where the mother is a foreign parent and the father is Thai? So that's my interpretation of it. But she said, would you like to be the first point of contact? And I said, of course. I'm the one who leaves him here and collects him every day. It makes bloody sense. But you see, I'm a non-entity in Thailand. Anyway, let's move on to our next story, which was the second, but is now the third. But nonetheless, extremely thought-provoking and extremely aggravating and extremely interesting. So, for our third story, it was meant to be our second story, but I've already explained that. That's my car, the white one. And guess what, lads? It's not parked straight. You can see it's kind of at an angle. I'll get a better shot here. So it's parked at an angle. So what? I mean, does it have to be in a straight line? Well, apparently, yes. I don't do that deliberately, by the way. I try to park that straight, but I can't do it every time. I can do it sometimes, but not all the time. So I've come to a place which is more serene, in the sanatorium of where I live. And you might say that's the best place for me, because it is like a bloody sanatorium, and I love it. And I'm here with all the other sanatorium residents. It's a great place to live. But you see, parking your car straight is one of the hang-ups Thais have. I'll call it a hang-up. Now, I did cover this before, because this basically it's a constant. It's a constant, and it's in this video because it's a constant in my life. I'll tell you what happened, and this is more proof of how I'm a non-entity in Thailand. That car is not parked straight now, as you just saw. But it wasn't parked straight this morning, and it wasn't parked straight yesterday evening. Yesterday evening, I had to come home, pick up Harry from school. I was in no hurry to get back into the condo. I think something to do. Just parked the car, in I came. But it was similar to what it is now. And security came to the door and said to me in Thai, but whatever, your car isn't parked straight. Can you adjust it? So I said, okay, I didn't want to be argumentative. So I adjusted it. But it still wasn't straight. I can't do it. I just cannot do it. Anyway, There's no, you can see, it doesn't impede. It's not impeding or causing any disruption whatsoever. It's not an obstacle. So that was that. And then this morning, before I started making this video, my wife calls me. And this was one of the things that spurred me on to make this video. She said to me, "You didn't park your car straight yesterday." I said, "How did you know?" And you might say, why do I think she doesn't know? Because she lives in the same condo. My car is parked up there. Her car is parked down there in the visitors car park because she hasn't got a sticker. We've only got one sticker per vehicle one sticker per room, let's say. But she's allowed parking in the visitors area for 12 hours. So when she comes home from work, she parks there. She gets up early in the morning, she moves it. But she has no cause to go up to where my car is parked, and never does. So she wouldn't have known. Do you know how she knew? They told her. They called her. Yes, they said, "The Farang's car isn't parked straight. Kindly sort out your Farang." Because that's what it amounts to. Because that's what happened. So anyway, that was that. But she also said, I hadn't parked my car straight this morning either. And how was she to know that? Because somebody called her from here. But the security came to me yesterday and told me, but they called her and told her to sort out her Farang and have him park his car straight. Now, if that's not being a non-entity, what is? I'm not saying all Thais are like this, but in my experience, and I've given you 3 examples of things that have happened to me within the last 2 weeks, and you can extend that throughout any given time, any given space of time, any year, any month, any whatever, and you'll find that you are overlooked as an individual here. All I want is to be treated with respect. We are treated with respect in Thailand. Absolutely. The Thais are probably one of the most respectful people in the world. And they do respect me. But when it comes to the ins and outs of daily life, you can be and you are overlooked because you're not Thai. That's my experience. So, to finish off this video, I'll reiterate the obvious. Thai people are courteous and respectful towards all the guests who live in their wonderful country. But the practicalities of living here are littered with events that blot you out as an individual. This is the best way I can say. Yeah, I feel blotted out. Why can't they come to me and tell me my car isn't parked straight? Why can't the school ring me and tell me my son is not well? Why can't I deal with reception when I've paid somebody else's bill without reception having to ring my wife in my presence and not tell me? I don't know. Let me know, lads. Let me know. I don't know if you have, as I said, you have the same experience. But for me, I've resigned myself to it. It's normality. And I treat YouTube as an opportunity to vent. As a therapy. That's what it is. And I receive therapy in our sanatorium. But just to lighten it up a bit. Christmas has well and truly arrived here in Bangkok. And I just want to say, I'll take this opportunity at the very early stages to wish you a very happy Christmas and prosperous New Year. There's plenty more to come on this channel between then and now. So whatever you do, lads, if you haven't done so already, click the like button, the share button, and all those wonderful things, and subscribe button. And I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me. Yo, Joe, what do you know? Happy Friday.